FBI agent Lee Harker suddenly discovers her psychic abilities by naively identifying the house where a wanted criminal was hiding. When a series of special tests confirm that this is no coincidence, Harker is sent by her superiors to investigate a series of brutal murders in which there are many incomprehensible. What they all have in common is that one day the head of an idyllic family seems to go mad and kills his wife and children and then commits suicide, and each of these families had a daughter born on the 14th of some month. Lee embarks on an investigation, not knowing that it will lead her to a skeleton stored in her own closet. Hype is always good for distribution. If marketers manage to get people's attention to their movie, it greatly increases its chances of good box office returns. The promo campaign for Longlegs was by Hollywood standards not the most expensive, but extremely creative, running word of mouth at full speed, which ultimately helped the movie to become one of the highest-grossing horror films of the year, and its budget of $10 million paid off on the first day of release. Oil in the fire of expectations was fueled further by critics, who rated the picture extremely high. The first reviews from test screenings, and brilliant casting, Nicolas Cage as a serial killer and the princess of indie horror Maika Monroe as an isolated investigator following his trail, turned out to be a perverse, but surprisingly apt variation of the duo of Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins in the classic Silence of the Lambs. But while there is nothing wrong with these local victories, altogether they merged into a flurry of applause that placed on the small, almost arthouse slow burner a responsibility that more established art horror creators like Ari Aster or Robert Eggers would not be able bear. This is by no means to say that Osgood Perkins, who directed and wrote Longlegs, is a random person, quite the opposite. The son of the most famous maniac in film history, Anthony Perkins, who played Norman Bates in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, Osgood started out as an actor in comedies, but over time his inner search led him into directing, where he made the horror films February, I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, and Gretel and Hansel, which included many personal and important themes for Perkins. A lot of personal and important for Perkins themes in Longlegs as well. In his various interviews you can find references that this detail he took from here, this plot motif borrowed from here, and this story has noted long ago as very cinematic. And it's all wrapped around the strong bond between parents and children and a love that is sometimes suffocating and sometimes murderous. And that's only individual motifs and structures that make up the plot. If you look at Longlegs from the genre point of view, there is also a total eclecticism. It is a police mystery thriller combined with occult horror, creepy puppets, clairvoyance, religious and never-losing relevance motifs of Faust, as well as for some reason references to rock music of the 70s, although the movie takes place in the 90s. The resulting rattling mixture is shot and directed in an emphatically visionary way. The movie is interesting enough to watch, but not very interesting to twist in your head afterwards, because it is built on a patchwork of disparate ideas that do not merge into a single concept, which has become a must for the best horror films of recent years. The Babadook was a movie about trauma, Talk to Me speculated about drug addiction, Smile was about depression. What's Longlegs about? It seems to be about a lot of things, but it's a mess of gunfire in all directions, and while individual shots, like a really spectacular Nicolas Cage in makeup or the general atmosphere of a paranoid nightmare, hit the mark, trying to say a lot at once, Perkins ends up saying nothing. Which is by no means to say that someday, perhaps as early as his next movie, he won't hit us in the heart of the matter. He definitely has the talent.